If Sowore was Igbo, he would have been out by now. These were Reno Omokri's words. Reno Omokri took to Instagram as he talked about his concern as no one is willing to stand as Sowore's shorty. Reno Omokri in his Instagram said, "In 24 hours, my followers raised 1.2 million for Uchechukwu Ukaipo, an Onitsha market fire survivor. Let that inspire Sowore's followers to raise the 50 million naira needed for his bail. Don't raise hashtag. Raise money. Hashtags can't pay for bail. If you depend on hashtags, you will remain in jail. I know many of those who romances Sowore and have more than 1 billion naira." Yes, Reno Omokri, I quite agree with you. But in the instance that you kept on going to your Instagram page only to keep on trying to cause a kind of division. You also said in your Instagram post that despite the stringent bail conditions set for Nnamdi Kanu, Igbos wasted no time fulfilling it. Why the comparison? I really don't understand. If you are someone who believes in one country, you wouldn't be saying all this. Well, I am not here to attack anyone, but I could still remember that even Nnamdi Kanu urged his Igbo brothers to support Sowore in the struggle for the freedom of the Nigerians. In many instances, Nnamdi Kanu has supported Sowore. We could also remember that both of them met, and that is even part of the charges that was levied at Sowore. So there is no division between these two people. I think government has been used to these tactics of trying to separate the tribes, where you have the Igbos is different from the Yorubas is different from the Hausas. They bring divisions when they see matters like these that is going to liberate the masses. If you go to the House of Assembly, they talk, they eat, they fight, they do everything together. They even marry each other. The Hausas are marrying the Yorubas are marrying the Hausas, and even we all know within ourselves that there is no tribal barrier. The Igbos are marrying the Yorubas, and the Yorubas too are marrying the Igbos. So I do not support such statement as comparing Nnamdi Kanu's bail with Sowore's present bail terms. Why the comparison? I see no comparison with that. And in fact, if you are well updated, you will hear Mr. Falana, Sowore's lawyer, that said that the court has reviewed the bail conditions and has cancelled that aspect of the bail. They have set that aside, and it requires no more deposit of money by the shorties. And this is in line with the decisions of the higher court. I think let us hear it directly from Mr. Falana.
Well, the court has ruled that the court has reviewed the bail conditions and has cancelled that aspect of the bail, set aside that aspect that requires the deposit of money by the shorties in respect of the two applicants, in respect of Mr. Sowore and Bakare. Yeah.
There was also a reduction in the bail for
yeah, for 20 million instead of 50 million. Yeah. But nobody is going to, neither of them is now required to get a shorty to deposit money in line with the decisions of higher courts.
Sir, was it right in the first instance to mandate them to deposit money?
That is why we came for a review, right? we're going to now discuss with our clients to know the next stage.
Was it really right
To do what?
to mandate them to deposit money?
No, that has been reviewed. That's why we came here, because we didn't agree. No, but I'm not going to tell you whether it's right or wrong. We have come to call for variation, and the court has granted our application for variation of that aspect of the order.
So we can see that it is not a question of trying to compare the two cases. They are cases that involve two freedom fighters. And the freedom fighters has different people that are trying to bail them out. They have different lawyers that came up. So we are not going to make any way forward if we're trying to compare the two freedom fighters. Of course, Sowore has everyone in mind. Likewise, Nnamdi too. On instances we've seen where Nnamdi Kanu is asking the Igbos to support Sowore. So I don't see any reason why we should now bring a division and trying to say the Igbos will do this, the Yorubas, why are they not doing that, and all sorts. That is not a progressive way to look at things. That is the same strategy that the government have been using all this while. This religion fighting this religion, it is a religious fight. It is not a religious battle. It is not a tribal battle. This is a freedom for raw Nigerians, the marginalized Nigerians. Okay? So let us get things straight. Then let's go to the other news we have here. Where is the 322 million recovered Abacha loot? There have been so many stories about the 322 million recovered Abacha loot. If we are to really go by the record, this money was recovered during President Goodluck Jonathan's tenure. It wasn't during the Buhari administration that this money was recovered. The money has been recovered in 2014 and kept with the Swiss government. It was only during Buhari's tenure that the money was now transferred back to Nigeria. There have been so many stories that part of the recovered money, $104 million of the Abacha loot, was spent on the poor. The federal government said that, and this is what the president's aide Oasis disclosed this during a keynote address at the two-day expert training and advocacy on tracing and recovery of illicit funds and assets organized by the Human Environmental Development Agenda in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Of course, the aide said that the presidential aide said that the total amount disbursed from the Abacha loot from August 2018, listen, to October payment cycle was $76,538,530 and $27,099,028 from the IDA credit. Well, we all know that it's all sounding in theory and it is actually not practicalized. I could still remember when the president's wife Aisha Buhari mentioned that some of these monies that is meant for the poor has not gotten to them. And I think it is this same presidential aide that said that she does not understand the system of how the money is disbursed. So that's why the president's wife was talking like that. Up until now, we don't really know the full account of this money. We know quite all right that the idea of disbursing the money to the poorest of the poor in this country was part of the negotiation that was held with the Swiss government before they transferred the money to Nigeria. and the Nigerian government agreed to do so. But we all know here in Nigeria that all this is just in paper. Nothing has really happened. They have not come out to show us the real account. So we are just living on, yes, there are some national social investment program, and the money was it went under the national cash transfer program. All sort of programs which we know that the money hardly gets there. The people, even if the money gets to the program, the money doesn't get to those that are supposed to benefit from the program. It is really unfortunate. Then we move on to the news about the former US President Jimmy Carter, who suffers minor fracture in a fall at home. The former US President Jimmy Carter suffered a pelvic fracture after a small fall this month, the Carter Center on Tuesday said. The 95-year-old fell on Monday in his home in Plains, Georgia, his non-profit organization said in a tweet. Carter was admitted to hospital for observation and treatment of what the center said was a minor pelvic fracture. The former president was in good spirits and is looking forward to recovering at home, the tweet said. Carter was slightly injured in the fall earlier this month and requires stitches above his eyebrow. Shortly afterwards, Carter and his wife Rosaline, 92-year-old, returned to their work volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, a nationwide charity that builds and repairs homes for needy people. Carter also had a bad fall earlier this year, breaking his hip in May as he prepared to go turkey hunting. This mishap resulted in hip replacement surgery. I hope Jimmy Carter heals quickly. This is an American president that served only 4 years. I think we have a lot to learn from Jimmy Carter. If our leaders and those upcoming leaders can learn from this, because you could imagine a US president that only served one term from 1977 to 1981, and ever since then he has been volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, a nationwide charity that is going all over the country building and repairing homes for needy people. How many of our past presidents, even some of them that have even become president like more than 10 years, they came the first time, they served as president. The second time again they came. At least we've had 2 presidents like that. President Olusegun Obasanjo, the current president that we have now. Both of them had become 2-time head of state or 2-time president or whatever. In the military era they were head of state. In the civilian era or democracy era they became president again. And instead of them focusing on helping humanity, helping the country to grow, not just by lips coming out to be running commentaries that is not helping us and making us to feel like you are gods. This is an example of someone to, this is a prototype of a past president that every Nigerian must look up to. Whether you are the president of the country or the president of your club or the president of whatever you are right now, because I think our core values need to be reviewed. If you become a president and after you become a president you are still vying to become the president again, for what? This is a country that there are lots of homeless, needy, hungry, dying people. And all the money, all the wealth that you have acquired when you were president, acquired internationally, you are not using it for the good of your people. But all of them are just doing everything they do for their family, their generations yet unborn. This is unfair. Let's take a lesson from a president of a great country like this. They should come out, work for the people. In my own view, I think a lesson from Jimmy Carter is that the former president should not involve themselves in political issues anymore. Involve yourself with humanitarian service. There are lots of poor people, there are lots of needy people who need your support. That is what they should focus on, and not focus on who should be the next president, who is right and who is wrong. No, we should learn from great men like this. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next report. Here we have a study done by a German scientist which says staring at women's breasts makes men live longer and healthier. The German scientist Karen Weatherby, published in a New England Journal of Medicine, has revealed that staring at women's breasts is healthy and also elongates the lifespan of men. The study, which was carried out over a period of 5 years, involved 500 men, half of whom were instructed to stare at women's breasts in a lustful manner for no less than 10 minutes every day. The other half were instructed to abstain from doing such. It concluded that men who stared at breasts more often showed lower rates of heart problems, slower resting heart rate, and lower blood pressure, all of which enable a healthy living and long life. The study said men should stare at breast for 10 minutes a day to improve the awareness of their hearts and live longer. What do you think?